30 days ago, Magik #1 with a stunning Marvel Rivals cover was casting spells at the top spot. 60 days ago, Spawn made his return to the list and took over the spotlight. And 90 days ago, Spider-Boy #11 was riding the school bus straight into the collector's pull list. But how are they performing in the marketplace now? Let's break it down. This week's 30, 60, 90, we got some really fun books there. We got Magik, Spawn, and Spider-Boy. Here we are talking about Spawn again. Overall, one of the things I will say about all three books is that they are maintaining their value, which is a rarity when we do this segment. So let's go ahead and start it off with that first book, and that's Magik. Magik #1 is the Marvel Rivals variant. This came out in 2025 from Marvel Comics. On January 13th, this book was #1, and it had a top weekly sale of $40 near mint. During that week, it sold 43 units, and the raws were going roughly about $33. There was no reported slabs for the book since the book was brand new. As of today, the book is going for $50, and that was the last recorded sale of the book on the 8th of February. It sold 115 comics since that time period, and the raws are going for about $44 raw, and graded copies are going for $120. In fact, the 120 is the highest known sale that happened on January 3rd. As of today, there's only 3 comics in the census. Magik.
Well, this one, I think these rival books are going to hold or increase most likely, because in the previews, the new Rivals comic, likely reprinting the online stuff, is coming out. So there's going to be more attention, and more people are going to be then looking back for these issues.
Yeah, and this one will still hold because Magik is still a popular character. It's not going to die until the hype around Marvel Rivals dies. So for the time being, we're going to keep this momentum. Will it steady? I think it's going to stay leveled now. I think 50 is a good point for this book. It might drop down a year or two from now, but I think for $50 is probably where you're going to find this book. I wouldn't spend more than 40 on this book, however, if it was me personally, but 50 is not too bad.
No, and again, I cursed myself because I had this in my hand and I put it back on the shelf.
Let's take a look at the book that was hot 60 days ago, and that's Spawn #1. This book came out in 1992 for Image Comics. When it was #1 was December 9th, and that was almost 60 days ago. The top weekly sale of the book was 169 and 9.8. During that week, 110 units were sold. Raws were going for $21 near mint, while graded copies were going for $155 at a 9.8. As of today, the book last sold for $32, and it had a growth of 284 copies sold since that time frame. Raws are $26 now, while graded copies dropped to $133. Now, the highest known value of this book is at $9,995, but that is at the beautiful 9.9. That was on December 1st, 2021. Currently, there's 35,317 copies of this book in the census. Just to give you a little more insight, there's currently 6 number 10s, and there are 79 9.9s of Spawn #1.
Look at the numbers for CGC. It's unbelievable. And I mean, I agree. This is a classic book. Everybody should read Spawn. I thought it was great. I remember all the hype when it was coming out, and there was no internet then, and everybody was talking about this book. So it is, for me, it's a I can remember when it came out and the hype around it and all that, and it's really kind of a good memory. So I have a special place in my heart for this. I kept getting it till about 100 issue 169, and then kind of stopped for a while for some reason I don't know. And I'm back in now that Todd's writing.
Yeah, when this book came out, it was the hottest selling book of its time. Todd can't do any wrong, as we say at the moment, right?
Yeah.
But it was a special occasion. It was the highest selling indie book of all time. It is still considered to be the highest selling indie book of all time. And the numbers prove it. There's 35,000 copies in the census. 79 at 9.9. That's insane.
I know. Unbelievable. Yeah. Even having 610s, especially like we've all, like, except for Joe, apparently have seen this book. Like the paper is not like, it's not cardstock on the cover. It's like a regular floppy. So to get a 10, but it's so cheap and there's so many made, like you can just see people just sending 25 at a time and crossing their fingers.
Yeah, exactly. So, and that 35 also includes signed books. So that's a combined number of books. But man, that's why the book is going for like $26, really. It's because there's so many copies. They made this book in the millions. So why should you owe that much for a book that there's millions of copies? It's not exactly rare. So Spawn number 1, that was 60 days. Let's take a look at our last book, which was 90 days. That's Spider-Boy 11 from Marvel Comics. The book came out in 2024. During November 11, it was number 1, and it had a top weekly sale of $60 at a 9.8. It sold 43 units during that week. The Raws were going for $26 near mint, while graded copies were already selling for $64. As of today, the book has dropped to about $13. That was the last recorded sale. 115 copies have sold since that time frame, and $18 near mint. Raws, $86 for 9.8. So that actually went up. The highest known value of this book is $120 at a CGC 9.8. In fact, I've got to put that in that list too. And CGC Census currently has this at 53 copies.
Yeah, so this, again, I just went through my previews and I was ruthless in my first round, and I chopped this book out of my pull list. I have this one, but I have a variant cover, and it's always amazing to me that it's this cover that is getting the attention. And we've talked about that before. But yeah, I don't mind it, but Spider-Boy, I don't know.
Well, it's not really Spider-Boy. It's about that girl. Yeah. So, it's the girl who would become Spider-Girl. And that's why this book is demanding that value. It's Paco Medina. It's actually a cover A that people are hunting for because of the image of that girl, who many believe is the new Spider-Girl character. Overall, the book is fine. I have my copy as well. $86 is a good increase for the book at a 9.8. But the book is selling for $18 near mint. So I'll get the raw over the grade if I'm going to buy it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So there you have it, guys. That's your 30, 60, 90 for this week. It's not a bad list. Not a bad list at all.
And you know what's interesting about that list? For the first time in a long time that I can remember, is there isn't an absolute title in
it. That is true. I promise you, we will talk about absolute again.
Oh, yeah.
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more comic content. Check out these other videos for even more insight, and I'll see you at the next one. Excelsior.